Hey guys, I'm sure it's probably not a big shock to you that my first recommendation for you when it comes to getting better at shooting bullseyes, or heck for that matter, anything, is to dry fire it. Dry fire requires no money aside from the money you've already initially invested into the firearm you're going to use. It shouldn't take a lot of time. I always tell people that I spend no more than 3 to 5 minutes on any session. I do it as intensely as I can, and then when I am done, I shut it down. Guys, dry fire is predicated on the assumption that you know the safety rules, that you know how to completely clear a firearm of any ammunition and remove that ammunition from the area you're practicing, guys. If at any point during your clearance or your session at all, you get distracted or something comes up, you need to immediately stop what you're doing, check everything again before you proceed. If you are chemically altered in any way, shape, or form, that's not the time to handle firearms. Firearms are inherently dangerous. That's their whole purpose. They put holes in things. So if you are not mentally capable of handling that, or you don't have the knowledge to do that, stop what you're doing, get some competent instruction like justified defensive concepts, FPF. There's a bunch of other places to go that can get you started with the basics, guys. So please don't overlook that. But anyway, let me talk to you about how I dry fire. I'm actually going to show you some video of me dry firing from the perspective of what I'm seeing with B8s, and I think that will be helpful to you. So stand by for that. Okay, guys, this is what I do when I'm dry firing on a B8. First, I got my old trusty Glock 34. Feel free to give me grief about the don't tread on me on the back plate all you want. But notice I'm watching the sights and I'm taking up slack on the trigger. And then right when it breaks, so that was an X hit, you got to call it. As soon as the shot breaks, wherever the sight was, where the bullet goes. So, yeah, same thing, same thing. I think that's a pretty decent X hit there. X hit there. Exit there. And your goal during dry fire is obviously you don't want the sights to move or shift overly much when the trigger breaks. That is the whole point of dry fire. And you're saying, well, Jay, that's all well and good, but I use a dot gun. Okay, I got you. So, same thing. So here we are. I'm pressing and watching the dot, pressing, watching the dot. And same thing, pressing, watching the dot, pressing, watching the dot. Now, when I'm doing dry fire, I'll just decide how many strings of fire I'm going to do. Like in this case, 4 or 5. In general, I'm not going to dry fire more than probably 5 or 10 minutes. But look, at this time, if let's say it drifted over here. All right, well, that would have been a 9-ring hit. Or if you saw it go like that, well, then we know we messed up. What we want is an entirely stationary reticle or sight picture each time. So now I hear you saying, well, Jay, I want to practice 10 yards, but I don't have 10 yards inside my house. That's okay, I got you. So now I've got a reduced size target. This is 33%, and I'm going to cover target math here in just a little bit, but now things get more entertaining, right? Because there, same thing there. There. Now if we do it with the dot gun, same but different, right? Put the dot where it needs to go, press. That was a 10 ring on the left. High 10 ring. Low 10 ring. And left 10 ring. I'll talk more about target math in a bit, so if you don't have large distance to work with, you'll have some idea of how to scale your target appropriately. But that's typically how I dry fire when I'm trying to work bullseyes. So I alluded to it earlier, but If you have full-size targets, but you don't have full size to dry fire inside your house, maybe you're working in a closet or part of your basement, you don't have a lot of room, shooting or dry firing on targets this size at that sort of range gives you a false sense of comfort. You think, oh, I got this, no problem. When maybe it would make more sense to be shooting at a target like that. But how far do you reduce? And also, I should mention, one of the settings in your print on your computer should actually be scale. You should be able to change the percentage of your print size. You can also do that with a copier. So if you've got access to or can pay for a print or a copy, then you're good to go. But like I said, how do you know how far to go? So I've got some, I guess, examples. Let's pretend we have a 5-yard spot in our basement, and maybe it's 3, maybe it's 4. It doesn't matter. I just chose 5 because it's simple. If you got less, just plug in less, easy. So for this example, I have 5 yards, but I want to be practicing 10 yards. Like I want to do the 10, 10, 10 or the test. So I'm going to divide 5 by 10, and I'm going to come up with 0.5 or 50%. So that's easy. I just reduce that target by 50%. I don't do this math in my head, or I suppose that would be doable, but whatever your distances are, just use a calculator. And if you're not measuring in yards, but you're measuring in feet, just make sure that's feet and that's feet. If everything's consistent, or meters, then it's easy. So one's a little trickier if you have your 5 yards in your basement, but you want to shoot 25. I'm going to shoot 25-yard bullseyes. I want to practice that. Then 5 divided by 25 is 0.2 or 20%. So you would reduce that target to a 20% when you type it in. Just to let you know what that's probably going to look like, this is a 33%. So it's a 1/3 reduction of that. So you can be dry firing on very small targets indeed, but that'll help you if you want to scale your targets. And that works obviously not just B8s, but any target. If you've got a PDF of it or other printable copy, that takes care of you. And I hope that helps you out in your practice sessions. All right, guys, the final thoughts. Dry fire is an essential part of at least how I practice. I probably do it 3 to 5 times a week. I don't usually spend more than 5 minutes at a time when I'm doing it. The key is 1, get all the ammo completely away from where you're at. 2, check to make sure your gun's clear, and then double check it, guys. A lot of noise in a hole that goes someplace basically takes all the benefit away and turns it into a real liability, possibly with criminal repercussions. That said, my dry fire practice, it is short, it is intense, and then I shut it down. I have tried to do longer dry fire sessions, and when I've done that, I've found that at some point I start to lose focus, I start to get sloppy, and then when I get on the range to kind of verify what my dry fire did, I find that I got worse. Like it actually caused me problems, and then I had to backtrack and clean those up. So short, intense, and multiple times a week, guys. Your brain really cares about things like relevancy, but also recency. The thing that you practiced a year ago isn't helpful. The thing that you practiced last night, you can probably have more chance of actually doing it on demand and under stress. So that's just a thought on that. But where I go from here is I need to start talking to you about live fire and how to transition from, I did a bunch of dry fire on B8s, to how do I start working live fire and kind of keep the gains that I got. So I got probably 2 more videos on this, and I won't spoil the surprise. I hope that you found this helpful. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. It really helps. And I'll talk to you guys soon.